even earlier, I'm on the Eastern time zone. And so some of you are probably on the Central time zone. And I don't even actually know. We might even have other people in other time zones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in the, if you are just joining us and didn't get a chance to get it before, I'm going to put the slides that we're going to be working on in chat, and the link is right there. But for the whole session, we'll be working off this slide. We will not need to, you won't need to, like, for instance, I mean, if you do go anywhere, it'll be from the slides. There will be a link from there, but there's no worksheet or anything like that. I will also ask that, and I'm going to go ahead actually and share my screen, even though you all have the same stuff. Oh, Monique, do you mind put me as co-host so I can share my screen? Sorry, give us a second. But thank you. On the first slide, you all will see, let me go ahead and get there real quick. Okay, there we are. I'm asking if you all don't mind, first of all, is to introduce yourselves. Love to know your name. I already see that, of course, on the Zoom, but where you're from and what's your favorite scent? I'm also a science teacher, and so out of all our 5 senses, the sense of smell is the one that lingers the longest and the most memorable. And so I'm always curious just to know what people's favorite scents are. And thank you for humoring me on that too, by the way. In addition to that, if you don't also mind, if you can go ahead and include in your name, if you are a student or a teacher, and you could put it in parentheses S or parentheses T behind that. The only reason I'm asking for this is right at the end, when I do the wrap up, we're going to be in breakout sessions, and those sessions are going to be teacher groups and student groups as well. So it's more specific that way. I'm going to give you all some time to do that, and then we'll move it forward in a moment. Let's see. I'm going to check out the chat. Let's see, anybody?
If you don't know how to edit your name, if you click on at the bottom of your screen, you should see something that says participants. That'll show a list of people. Click on participants, find your name in the list. If you move to the right of your name, you should see a button that says more if you hover over your name, and it should give you the option to rename. That way you could just put your parentheses T after your name.
Thank you. And let us know if you have any questions on that. And I'm going to go ahead and grab it from the chat again. Hi, if you're just joining, I'm going to go ahead and put the slides that we'll be working on in chat. And we're just actually getting on slide 1. The ocean, grilled food. Oh yeah. You know, like I don't really grill. I don't really cook well, period, but not even grilled. But when I'm walking my neighborhood, the dog in the neighborhood, I sure can smell that grilled food. Oh, gosh, it smells so good, especially in that summertime. Sandal, vanilla. I'm go-to vanilla. I'm like a candle person, and this is my vanilla candle right here that I burn when I need to like set my mood right for classes and stuff. Let's see, cucumber melon. Oh, wow, that's a blast from the past there, Susie. I remember that from my Bath and Body Works day when I was way younger. Not that I don't go there still, but holy cow. You all are, thank you for the memory lane over here with me. I'm loving this. The ocean, that is very distinct, isn't it, Crystal? Gosh, so sad. I have a little fear of the ocean because I get scared when I don't see through the water. I don't even know what it is. When I was younger, it was jellyfish were my fear. And so, but I love the smell. I love the smell of it. It's just, yeah, the ocean itself scares me a little. Sugar cookies. Bacon in the oven. You guys, this is so good. Oh my gosh, Sean, now okay, that is a blast from the past. That was like college for me. But loved it. Really, that's another distinct smell, right? It's like you go into any incense shop. I feel like that's the first smell that comes through in those stores. So the woods, nice, awesome. Strawberries, I love strawberries actually. Is it strawberry season? I don't know. I'm originally from Thailand and it's strawberry season there right now. So people, Thais love strawberries. We really do. Just a bakery, a bakery in general, cooking fried rice. Okay. I think I know that feeling. Makes me miss home cooking. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Oh, wow. You guys, thank you. Oranges are so distinct, aren't they? I mean, like, just in general, every time, like, even if I'm eating, somebody ate an orange, peeled it, when I went into somebody's classroom or something, you could just smell that. It's a nice scent. And I know that, I don't know if you all know, but since orange is citrus is a really strong, right, scent, when you go to, I don't know, when I would go to a pet store and they don't want you to like to not smell the pets and stuff like that, it's the orange smell that they actually spray because it's that strong. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and then if you all want, now let me see if I can do it this way too. I'm gonna stop sharing because I think I just shared my window. I'm gonna try and share my screen. And for some of you all that have not had a chance to change your names, I'm also gonna do a little quick demonstration on that, all right? I don't know, can you all see everything now? Moni, can you all see like when I'm pushing participants or anything like that? Or do I just need, I'm never sure.
I do see a feather, which I assume is your mouse cursor.
Okay, do you see like now the names up here?
No, all I see is your browser.
Just my browser. Got it. Okay. See, I didn't think so. I wasn't sure if you can see,
There's a way you could show, you have to look for the desktop, I think. It has to say desktop 1, desktop 2.
Oh, okay. Darn. All right, hold on then. Let me stop sharing one more time. And I know, and then let's do another share.
Yeah, if you share the desktop, you'll see everything on your computer screen.
Okay, don't push screen, but push desktop?
Yeah, don't push screen, push desktop.
Got it. Okay, got it. All right, share computer. All right, now do you see like the Zoom stuff?
Nope. Well, you can't show Zoom stuff on Zoom.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought, because I'm like trying to figure that out. I'm like, because I'm trying to show some of you all, if you can't figure out like how to change or rename yourselves, and I see that some of you have already. So, but basically on the, hold on a second, on this, like that little toolbar at the bottom where you mute or unmute yourselves, you'll see a small little part where it's not small, right in the middle, it'll say participants. All right, you want to click on that. Once you click on participants,
you want to find your name.
Right, all the names, there'll be a list of names of participants there, and then you'll want to find your name. Hover over your name. Once you hover over your name, you'll be able, it'll say rename, kind of like right here, it'll say mute or rename, and you can just push rename and it will pop up as for you to be able to edit that.
And initially that functionality had been turned off. It's turned off in Aaron settings when you set up the conference. I had to turn it on, and I put in the chat that it was on. So that's why.
Thank you, Monique. Sorry, got it. All right, and then once you, and some of you, I mean, I have a more, but maybe that's because I'm a co-host. So it'll say mute or more, and then you click on more and rename, or if yours just says rename too altogether. Okay. All right. And I'll say this, if you haven't had a chance to do it, it's okay. We'll probably even just maybe even ask you, all right? But if you can rename, just to include, you don't have to rename yourself or anything, but just to include an S or a T right behind your name, all right? An S being student and T being teacher. Okay. All right. And thank you for the chat stuff. I love that kind of stuff so much. I don't know. It helps me to get to know you all a little bit better. All right, let's see. And then Does anyone have any questions right now? Since I'm gonna go ahead and get started and show us the agenda and everything. Feel free to either unmute or put it in chat. Okay. All right, otherwise I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. Awesome. Okay, so down my slide. Agenda for today. We are discussing impact of computing and the internet, and then I will do the wrap up right at the end. However, in between there will be 2 breaks for 5-minute stretches. I know it's very important to have those 5-minute stretches. I go to a chiropractor and he was like, your one leg is shorter. I was like, oh my God, what? I didn't even know I could do that. But he said that the way I'm sitting so much as a teacher, just, usually we're walking up and moving around and stuff like that. And that apparently I've misaligned myself somehow and not even realize that. So stretch breaks are very important to everyone. Okay. So anyhow, we're going to go through all of these subtopics in impact of computing and these subtopics in the internet as well. We are working off of the slide. And if you are, I just kind of wanted to preface this as well. If you are a teacher and if you think you might want to use these slides for later, you're welcome to make a copy now. If you don't want the comments that are going to be placed in here while we're going through it. All right. If you don't mind having the comments so that you could reference and see and stuff like that, or if you want to just, however you want to do it, you can totally do it that way. I am going to, right at the end at the wrap up, I'm going to explain kind of how I did my system. And of course, like it's not the perfect system, but this is how I'm the system I'm doing this and how I'm structuring it. And so that if you want to use it this way in your classrooms, you're welcome to do so as well. All right. And if you're a student, this is probably the only slide deck you'll need. Eventually, the questions will also have answers attached to them. And you'll be able to just use this one to review if you'd like to. All right. Some quick norms, and please feel free if you have extra norms, or you could think of anything else while I'm going through some of these norms, please feel free to go ahead and add on. All right, either in chat or unmute yourselves. I'd like to be pretty informal as possible, and so whenever you feel like it doesn't have to be like a question time or anything like that. All right. Okay, so I know Monique has already gone through the technology norms, so I'm just going to go straight into the engagement norms. I'm asking just kind of be present. Thank you so much again for coming in on a Saturday. I really, really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll start it on time and then we're going to end on time based on how we're engaging and what we're going through and some questions, things like that. We might even get out a little bit early, but okay, just wanted you guys to know, because I don't believe in full length. I believe in the quality of things a little bit better. So, and then please monitor your airtime. Love this to be a community for us, and just to try to invite other people in so that it is a true cohort and community that we can all kind of appreciate from each other. All right. And Monique was right. Just real quick about me. This is my 10th year teaching at JCPS in Jefferson in Louisville. And I've been teaching high school science. I've taught, well, I'm certified in biology, but I have taught physics and chemistry as well. And I have also taught computer science for the past 6 years. First year was CSA, and then for the past 5 years, it's been CSP. All right. And if you have a Twitter, please feel free to follow me. And if you follow me, I'll definitely follow you back. I love building my PLN on Twitter there. These days, Twitter is my literature reading, and I just haven't had time. So the more I learn on Twitter, the better it is. All right, so we'll dive right in, unless you all have any questions for any reason at all. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. I saw a chat in there. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. Let me just see. I think. Okay, it does look like that a lot of us are from Kentucky, and welcome, Sarah from Florida. That's cool. All right. Yay, at least we're all in the either Central or Eastern time zone. I don't think anything else, though. All right. Okay, so impact of computing. Let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I am not going to fully present because there are things that I kind of, the way, okay, and being as transparent as possible as a teacher. Before, you know, in person, I had this thing called AB Tutor, or sometimes it's like Go Guardian, where you can see the screens. That's not really possible when I'm working virtually right now. And I know some schools can do that. So that's great. More power to your school for sure. But for this particular way, this is how I can see what everyone is writing, or how I can provide feedback. It's all in real time. And so this is why I'm using just all this one slide deck, and it's editable and everybody can get into it and you can type in it, whatever it is. Okay. And so I keep on going. So impact of computing is basically big idea number 5. That's most of it. And it is about 21 to 26% of the AP exam weighting on that. All right. So, I mean, it's a decent amount, about 20 questions, of course, give or take a few. There are 6 subtopics, which we will dive into as we go on. And if, like I said before, if you all have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself at any point or put it in chat at any point. And I'm going to try my best to have my chat box open so that I could see this. Okay. It's just, you know, it's like investment property and over on the screen. Where do I put it? That kind of thing. And I, you know, I should have done the whole second screen, but I did not this time. So it's like, wow, I feel crowded. All right, so I'm sorry as I keep going. So beneficial and harmful effects. We are actually going to go into our first breakout room in just a few minutes. And this is going to be random. So it'll be teachers, it'll be students, anything goes right now. Like I said, all the way at the end, though, that is going to be teacher-specific groups and student-specific groups. But we're going to take a look at some innovations, and you all are going to discuss with each other in your breakout groups some beneficial and harmful effects. All right. Before we do that, let's go ahead and stay, and I'm on now slide 8, if you all are interested in getting there too. I know some people like to, you know, kind of be on the same slide as well. But in terms of those particular terms, beneficial and harmful effect, beneficial effect is something, and we're going to simplify it as much as possible, right? I like simple kind of definitions because that's the only way I kind of retain definitions, is if it's just as simple as possible. So beneficial effect, producing good results or helpful effects, right? That's pretty much, right? I mean, if it's beneficial, then it's going to be good for someone or something or a group of people or whatnot, right? So, and then harmful effect, bad effect or damaging in a certain way, okay? Either a bad effect or damaging. All right. Okay, and I really want to make sure that everyone considers, because when you're looking at a harmful or beneficial effect of an innovation, you have to consider that the device is working as intended. So for instance, like what's its purpose, and is it doing its purpose in the benefits, and in terms of what's its purpose, what are its harmful effects, right? In this particular aspect, before last year when there was the Explore performance task, it was difficult in terms of a little, you know, it was sticky with the harmful effects sometimes, because there were a lot of people wanted to say that hacking, for example, was a harmful effect. But you have to understand, if it was meant for example, Google Glasses, I'm just throwing that out right there. The purpose is, right, hacking is not a harmful effect. Hacking is a side symptom. Yes, it is, for sure. You know, it can be, but it's not necessarily a harmful effect of Google Glasses. Maybe Google Glasses harmful effect could be, and I'm totally making this up because I don't have one or anything, is that it is, it's stressful on the vision. All right, that could be a harmful effect, but hacking would not necessarily be one, because that's not a purpose of Google Glasses, right, part of it. All right, and then also I'm going to ask that you all have, when you get out into your breakout rooms, that you all have a note taker and a time manager. We're going to give you all about 5 minutes to discuss in your rooms. Now, once you get into the rooms, please go ahead and find your slides that are assigned to that. And you'll see what I mean by that. So it'll say room 1 and then room 2. And each room has a different innovation to discuss when it comes to beneficial and harmful effect. All right. I'm sorry, Monique, sorry, it's distracting. Am I doing something? I'm not really sure.
No, it was potential harm for Google Glasses.
Oh, gotcha. Yes. Oh, thank you. Right. Thank you. Yes, it can be distracting, right? It's like, I don't know. I have not tried it.
It's supposed to be working and you're
Oh, yes.
Googling stuff in your glasses. That's all.
Yes, thank you. Gosh.
I probably should have put more words there.
No, that's fine. I thought it was, I don't know. I'm like, am I showing on the right screen sometimes? All right, thank you for that. All right, does anyone have any questions about the next 5 minutes and what you all are going to be doing? Awesome. All right. And for students, this is what teachers call pregnancy pause. Just waiting for a moment. I'm not good at it. I'm just really terrible at it. All right. Okay, so my breakout wizard is going to go ahead and send you all out into your breakout rooms, and please go ahead and find your slides that align to your room. See you all soon.
Okay, so Jackie, real quick.
Mhm.
It was 3 to 4 when I set this up. It must be fewer people dropped off or left. I am unable to do an official poll just because the way it's set up, and
Okay.
it's too to go into the setup right now to add a poll. You might want to try to ask folks to use reactions or something.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or
Sure.
hold up a card. Hold up
Yeah. Right. No, it's okay. I'll figure something. I'm trying to remember where I put it to. Okay, I see it. I remember now. Okay, yeah, not a problem. I can tell them, like, put A, B, C, whatever it is too. That's fine in chat. No biggie. No.
And are you timing them for the 5 minutes, or did you want me to do that?
Oh, I think we started at 10:28. So yeah, 10:33. We can grab them back. Yes, and I can do that too. No biggie. What? People are requesting access to my stuff? Why? I thought that I opened it up to everyone. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, got it. All right. And Monique, am I going to be able to jump from room to room?
I don't know. The recent update, they changed things.
Okay.
I want to say yes, but I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to try it. I'm going to go to room 4, and if I can jump, I'll jump. And if not, I'll just come back to the main. No biggie.
If you
And
come
I'll
back
try
to
that.
the main, I can put you in another room. I can definitely do that.
Okay, because I didn't realize that I made them all viewers, not editors. So I'm going to go over there and let them know now that I had that.
I could send a message to all. Jackie.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Did you see the message?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to tell you that, but you'd already jumped into the room.
Oh,
I could just broadcast a message to everybody.
thank you. Wasn't even thinking. Hopefully. Okay, all right. I'm seeing that some of them are stepping into their slides. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so I wasn't able to jump around at all. How many groups did end up being?
I have 7 groups.
7 groups. Okay.
At the time I did 7 groups because there was 25 people.
Gotcha. All right, great.
I don't have 25 people anymore. But
Oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, you're still recording if you wanted to pause in case.
yeah, well,
I don't want. All right, 7.
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
I think everyone's starting to trickle back in. Before I continue, did anyone have issues with the breakout room? Like, were you all able to see each other? Or at least be able to see each other? Okay, all right, yes, I think Kobe and Jonathan, I think we were good in that room when I visited you all, but
we didn't try to see each other, but we could talk.
You could talk. Okay, great, thank you. When I went over into room 4, and I think, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Everybody's moving on my screen all of a sudden because everybody's coming in. So I'm like, I can't. When I went to room 4, I couldn't see everyone that well. So that's why I was like, wait, it might've been just me.
Well, most people had their cameras off. Remember that happened
Right,
too.
right.
But yeah, it could, I don't know what it is. It could be the most recent update of Zoom. But I honestly don't know. Let's hope it doesn't happen to that extent again. If you can hear each other and use the chat, because you can still use chat and it would be specific to that room.
Then we should be okay for that bit.
But we're recording and ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and Kim, hopefully the next time we get out there, it should be okay for you as well. So, and I noticed that some of you did not get a chance to get your benefits and beneficial effects, excuse me, and harmful effects in. But for the people who did, thank you for that. And then if you all, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you a few minutes, a couple actually minutes, to do a little gallery walk through the slides. And if you will either add on, if you know of this particular innovation and you can think of a beneficial effect or a harmful effect, if you will add on to the slide, and then, or if you'll, excuse me, put a +1 next to a beneficial or harmful effect that you thought was really good, or you may not have even thought about, and somebody had put that in there. Okay, so it's 10:38. At 10:40, we'll reconvene. Just go ahead and do a quick gallery walk through the slides. And one more I'm going to put for, this is the room 7 one. All right, here we go. All right, room 7 is right there. If you all wanted to look for music apps too, and then let me put your guys' name. That's hopefully now you'll be able to. Gosh, I'm sorry for the logistical issues going on right now. Okay, that's odd. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna say that we do have an Alexa in my house, and my daughter and I have been we always do feel like we're kind of like nervous about it too. It's like, is she, you know how like on the cameras on your laptops or computers, sometimes like my daughter does have one of those, but we put tape or something on there on the camera, right? It's just like one of those kind of big brother issues that we have. But same thing goes with Alexa, because it's like, is Alexa listening? I mean, are they taken in every conversation? Is that being recorded? My daughter over here is screaming out, yes, okay, again, okay. And so it is, it's, you know, you get really kind of, I've grown up in a generation where it's like, you got to be suspicious, right? And then Snowden and then post Snowden. So it's like, you just don't know what's gonna, like what is happening or not happening. So you just kind of stay suspicious about a lot of these things, right? So definitely I feel whoever wrote that in terms of invasion of privacy, because it makes it, I think about it all the time, you all, but I use it, like I said, but I think about it all the time. So, because, yeah, and just because for that beneficial effect, the ease of access to information and services, right? I'm like, Alexa, just play some music, you know, it's so easy. Or what time is it? What's the temperature out there? That's what I always ask Alexa that. What's outside? So, anyways, thanks, Steve. That makes me feel so much better. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. Okay. Kobe, so crazy. It is so crazy. It's my daughter will ask Alexa questions and they'll talk and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not right, right? Like this is, and if you guys have seen The Social Dilemma, that's always on my mind about tech these days. I'm like, is this like an addicting thing or is this everything these days? So, oh, that's a trip, Marsha. Okay, I always wondered that. Facial recognition, right? Like if like twins, especially identical twins, I mean, or if you're a triplet, of course, right? But if that was the same, because twins can have the same fingerprints too, right? Even without the facial recognition, the fingerprint, they could open their own as well. So I'm like, I always thought about that. And twins always fascinate me anyhow, just the science of it all. So yeah, that is a little scary. I have seen, not that I'm ever saying that, but I've seen a lot of movies with, you know, like the evil twin doing this or that. And I'm like, oh gosh. Like that's off on a tangent. All right. Okay, let me just I'm gonna keep browsing around. Smartphones, 3D printers, right, cheaply made. And a harmful effect, and I've always, and here's what it is. I'm going to ask you all this, and if you can either unmute you, do you see, like for instance, supplies being expensive and software being expensive? Is that a harmful effect, or if that group, could you all explain when you mention it that way? I know it's harmful in my pocketbook, but I'm just curious as to how you all kind of like process that one.
Yeah, just like hard, like for the access in terms of like everybody having access to it. Like sometimes that software can be expensive, so then everybody doesn't have access to that technology and the abilities that that technology can afford people.
Right. Okay. I got you. Yes. And the accessibility. Absolutely. I understand. All right. Thank you for that. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's move along. Thank you, you all. So, that I felt that it was the kind of the best way to go through a harmful and beneficial, just to be able to see what they really are in terms of the innovation, because a lot of the questions that are going to be on the exam are going to be similar to that. They may not necessarily be innovations that we have at our disposal today, but it would be some possible hypothetical ones, all right? But at the end of the day, I always want everyone to kind of consider when you are looking over the exam or reviewing, is that what is the innovation's intended purpose, right? That's it now, and then where can you go off for beneficial and harmful effects? And that's where we start, is its intended purpose. All right. We're going to go ahead and actually get into our first set of practice questions. All right. I am on slide 21, and I'm going to actually present my screen for this one for a moment, because I really hope this works. All right. This should be it. Slide 21, all right? And if you'll go ahead and put into the chat which answer you think is right, okay? since you all have the slide, I figured I don't have to read it because sometimes people read at different speed. All right, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and put your answer in chat. If you think it's A, B, C, or D. Where is my chat feature all of a sudden? Gosh, Lord, I'm having some severe technical issues over here. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, you all. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I'm not seeing oh my gosh. See, there you all are. I knew everybody was like putting in answers, but I was like, I couldn't see it. All right, got it now. Share my screen again. Sorry. Okay, so I see that I have a lot up there. Gosh, took forever. I see a lot of D's, a couple of 1 or 2 C's. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. Answer is D, that's right. Which of the following is most likely to be a beneficial effect, right? Because again, we are looking at the intended purpose. The intended purpose of what a me reader is. And a me reader is an e-reading application. And therefore, that benefit could be the fact that users with visual impairments, right? It is able to help them in that way. Users may have reduced risk of the application being used in unintended ways. Again, we're looking at an innovation with its intended purpose, okay? And a reduced risk of the application being used. And that's actually not going to probably happen, not a reduced risk, right, on that. And B, users may have a reduced risk of their biometric data being misused. Not really sure in terms of the biometric, other than like, yes, of course, when the user launches the application scans the user's face, of course, and uses the facial recognition software. Yes, but once again, the intended purpose of the innovation was e-reading application, right? And it's not it's a harmful effect, but it's not necessarily a beneficial effect, right? Users with limited internet access may be able to more easily obtain books and articles. That's not possible. I mean, that's just because it's not keeping it as a database in that way offline, right? All right, so yay, thank you. Let's go ahead and we're going on to the next question, and it's the same, at least it's background wise, it's the same about the me reader. It is a part 2 of the me reader now. And so at this point, from the perspective of the application's developers, which of the following is most likely to be a benefit of storing all user data in a database? And I'm just gonna, I'll put down that it's 2. Okay, thanks, Russ, sorry. All right, lots of answers rolling in. Okay, nice. And so most of you all are saying A, and that's right. Hopefully I probably won't have to explain this one since it is a group consensus over here that it is A. Developers can analyze the data. So make improvements on kind of how users are using the Me Reader. All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. One more question on this topic, and then we will move on to the next. All right. This is a new background one, though. See a lot of B answers. Yes, that's right. Let me go ahead and see. There you go. It does. That's correct. It prevents users from accessing infrequently used files when there is no internet connectivity because of the fact that the software pushes infrequently used files into the company's web server. So when there isn't, you can't really access those, right? So good job. Thank you. Yay. I think those are, by the way, just to let you all know, these questions are all from the AP Classroom question banks from the College Board. So hopefully the language will be very similar for students when you are taking the exam. And so, you know, in terms of how it's going to be structured. All right, very nice. I'm going to go ahead and move it on forward. Now, so now I am on. And by the way, as teachers, you all can see that slides 21, 22, 23 do not have the answers. What I have is also with the answer key, and I will give you all that in towards the well, I'll give you all, I don't give that to everyone at the end, but also for students, what I will be doing in a little bit as we keep on moving, I will push the answers over to these slides. So again, if you are a student, you do not, you just need to use this one slide deck if you want to still study from it, all right? But as a teacher, if you wanted to use this with your classroom and not have those answers in advance, because this is an editable slide deck, I do have another slide deck with all the answer keys. Okay, all right. Okay, digital divide. Let's get this moving. Let's see if you can guess what would be the digital divide. If you don't, again, this is not something, you know, I expect everyone to know because we are just about to go over it. So now we're on slide 25. Over. What is the digital divide? Mm-hmm. I hear you, Marcia. All right. Yeah, good job, everyone. It is B. All right. Gaps between those who have access to computers and the internet and those who do not. These days, it's not just even about that type of gap. The digital divide is now like who has broadband, all right? Who has or not, it's in terms of that, or it's more specialized and it's more specific when it comes to these digital divides. People do I mean, these days, some of these people actually do have access. A lot of people do have access to the internet now, but it may not be the most productive way to conduct work or learning, right? And so with that, I'm going to start discussing about some of the statistics that are there for right now. So I'm on slide 26 at this point, but you'll notice in slide 26, there is a big difference, right? Homes with broadband, and then homes right here that do not have broadband, but they do have a smartphone. But it is not necessarily conducive, right, in terms of doing any type of schoolwork. I mean, I know, like, looking on a phone, there is no way I could teach from my phone. I mean, every once in a while, yes, but it would not be a consistent thing. And if you'll notice, from 2013 to 2015, the broadband percentages have actually gone down, right? But of course, I think we're not surprised here. The smartphone percentages have definitely been going up. All right. And that's the most interesting thing, is that's throughout every single group, right? Every single socioeconomic, every single gender, every single age or race groups, all right? Every one of them, which I think is really interesting to say, because, you know, it's hard. Everyone has a different situation, right? And so this is the year, because everyone has been forced into this uncertainty of either virtual, hybrid, or even in person, and then back to not in person. There's just so many changes that having a reliable internet has become pretty crucial and essential. And Marcia, you know, you saying that it runs deep in, I'll say this, I'm originally from Northern Virginia. And so it's like the East techie town of, on the East Coast, that kind of thing. But coming here, and I've only known Louisville, but still, yes. And I have visited counties or in Kentucky, and I've gone through these content review sessions too. And you are so right. It's so, you know, the countryside is very beautiful, but at the same time, the technology is not there or available yet. And that's where that equity access and the digital divide, that gap has gotten larger there. And so on to the next, statistics here, reasons why they don't have broadband. All right, reasons why people do not have broadband, because of cost. The cost is just, it's too much, and they don't feel like it is exactly necessary for them, all right? Because, as you can see, kind of the second reason is because a smartphone does the job as well. Having broadband is not enough. You've got to have a computer on top of that, and a computer is expensive. So, you know, we have a lot of students who are trying to get on and trying to learn and do their assignments, but they've only got access to a smartphone, for instance, if that, right? And so this has been a difficult year for a lot of people. And I think that, honestly, I really think that the year 2020 and 2021, it's still continuing. The word of the year is, it's got to be grace. We just don't know what situations anyone is dealing with at the moment, what technology issues, what personal issues, just everything, life in general, right? So, but I just kind of wanted you all to be able to see the statistics that come along with digital divide. Okay? And then in some places, it's just not available, right? It's just not available. I used to, in Louisville, I used to live on a street called Eastern Parkway. Now, again, my problem is not like, it's more of a elite struggle. I think, I feel like I had Wi-Fi, I had high-speed internet, but I wanted fiber, you know, and they didn't lay the lines there for my neighborhood yet. And so that service was not available for me, even if I wanted it. Now, again, that is on the other side of, right, like having internet. Some people just don't at all. So, all right. And a couple more statistics slides, and then I'm actually going to ask you all to take a little digital divide quiz. But divides now involve digital skills and readiness, all right? So crazy, but 60% say this statement describes them very well or somewhat well. I find it difficult to know whether the information I find online is trustworthy, right? Which I actually like that people are feeling this way, because you've got to be skeptical. The internet is an open source. Anybody, I mean, I can get on Wikipedia and type all kinds of stuff about me, right? We could absolutely lie about it all. I mean, I could be like a rocket scientist. I could have superpowers and have laser beam eyes, right? I could write all of that. And then there might be people that go there because we know that us as well, teachers and students will go to Wikipedia and take a look at Wiki. I mean, that's like the first thing that comes up on a search, right? Yes, we understand that is not that one and most reliable source, but it is probably the first source that people kind of click on just to kind of see, all right, what's that information there? Where can I jump off? Whatever it is, right? And so it's a very good thing. And I feel like we should probably have a higher number than 60% right there. 46% say this statement describes them very well or somewhat well. When I get a new electronic device, I usually need someone else to set it up or show me how to use it. So true for me, so true. Okay. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like upgrading anything. I know there are people who are like, you know, every time there's something new, upgrade. And I also, well, this part's not necessarily true for Monique, because she just told me earlier a story about what she had to deal with when she got her MacBook and setting it up with her Wi-Fi. But yeah, like when I go, you know, and I'm an Apple fan, so I've been kind of with Apple iPhones at least, and I started with MacBooks and things like that, but I actually have the second generation MacBook, if anybody remembers it, and it was the cute one. It was green, still do. Anyways, sorry, off on another tangent. And yeah, she does. Monique loves tech, loves tech. It's funny. I wish we could all sometimes take a picture of our setups and see, because all we see are screens, right? But the setups people have, I think. Anyhow, but because we don't feel like we know that backstory, we know how to like fully do everything correctly to set it up in the way we were used to, right? And then lastly, 14% of internet users are not confident of their ability to do things online. You know, okay, so 14%, that's not like the biggest number, but when you're thinking about how many people 14% is, that's actually a lot, you know, and they don't feel right. And I've got to say that I know that some of those 14% is even some of my high school seniors that graduate and go on to college, and they're just not feeling confident. They don't know how to use the LMS or the learning management system that the schools use, right? Some of us know of such a thing called Blackboard. Blackboard is not the easiest thing to learn or use. And there is a definite, I don't know the percentage personally, but there's a definite percentage of students that actually drop out because they don't feel comfortable using the technology, and they don't know who to ask, or they don't even know where to go, or again, they don't want anyone to see them as a failure or not knowing how to use even just the technology before the learning comes along, right? And so that's a number we definitely want to try to reduce as much as possible, because let's face it, the internet's around to stay. Everyone's affected by it. Even my 74-year-old mother has gotten onto a smartphone 5 years ago, you guys. 5 years ago, she did that. It's been a long 5 years for us. She asked me like a million questions, and she has gone to the phone store a million times. So, but anyhow, at least she's asking questions. All right. And then last one before you all, I asked you to take a little quiz for yourselves. You'll notice this one is this is more an economical graph. This one is from January 8th through February 7th, 2019. The numbers of lower income Americans, right? That percentage is much lower in terms of technology, in terms of internet, right? Any of the above is much lower than any of the income brackets that you're seeing there, right? We want to really think about that, because, and I'm not 100% sure, Sarah, in terms of Florida, but in Kentucky, that's a decent number. of people making under $30,000 households, right? That's a decent percentage of people doing that in Kentucky. And so we have to consider those kind of things. And especially, again, a year that we were forced to be virtual, and we were not ready or equipped for it. I've got to say, though, we're all doing a phenomenal job. As teachers, as students, we're doing a phenomenal job this year, just being on. So, all right. And then lastly, 1 in 3, okay, households headed by someone 65 or older does not have access to a computer. And we are not number 1 in all 50 states. However, Kentucky has a lot of children that live with their grandparents as primary caretakers. And if you see that 1 in 3, that's starking to me, 1 in 3. So like I said, the digital divide is present, it's there. It's even more specialized now. Again, it's not just about having something or not having something. Is it having something of this quality versus this quality versus this quality, right? So now I'm going to give you all, and I actually put a timer on this one. If you will click on the, should be right on this next one right here. There we go. I have linked a digital knowledge question. It's about the digital divide. It's 10 questions. I took it already, and I'm curious if you don't mind towards the end, at the end, after everyone is finished, if we can share what our scores are together, okay? And I will go over what the bracket is, because you know what? I definitely did not get great. I didn't get 100%, I'll say it like that. All right, so let me go ahead and start this and let you all have some time. Oh, shucks, okay. Well, I was hoping it would just let me start us this way, but okay. But let me move this. Oh, sorry. I'll just stop sharing for now. So about 11:16, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. Well, thank you all, first of all, for sharing already. I was gonna poll you all, but I appreciate that you all decided to share it, because that's great, that's great. I see that we didn't all get perfect, that's sure. I agree, you guys, I had no idea that was the Twitter person. Like, what? Okay. I don't know who I thought it, I don't know. I can't even remember what I said it was. My other one was the two-step authentication, which Susie, I knew too. I felt like, oh my God, how could I miss that? Right. But I did. And I can't remember what that third one was. Gosh, I thought that I was gonna like ace this one. All right, 10 questions. Come on, I can do this. I teach this. Oh, geez. So therefore, that really indicates to me that I am not necessarily the expert. I am maybe a lead learner, right? Borrowing from code.org there, but I'm by all means not the expert on that. But if you did get 10 out of 10, great job. Great job. Good kudos to you. I would never, ever have known who that the owner of Twitter is. I don't even remember what I did guess, to be honest with you. So anyhow, good job, everyone, on that. Let's move along then. All right. So I was going to do the how'd you do poll, but thank you so much for, like I said, putting that in chat. We're going to move ahead on to computing bias. And I am going to share my screen again. Nathan. Should know better, right? We should know better, because I feel like the more scruffy you look these days, you probably are a CEO in some type of Silicon Valley startup or something. Because I thought the same thing. I was like, come on, they're tricking me or something. At least I'm glad we're all very like-minded in that aspect. Oh, okay, Susie. Yeah, I hadn't even seen him. I had no idea. I'm also trying to stay a little bit away from the news. As of recent, it's just too overwhelming for me. So that might be why I have no idea as well. So, okay, let me go ahead and share my screen again on that. All right, so we're down over computing bias, excuse me. And I am on slide 34. And so on slide 34, here we are. What is computing bias? Okay. And whenever you are, yep, thank you. All right. CCC. All right, awesome. Nice. Lots of people chiming in, and bias is, yeah, absolutely, right? Prejudice against or for someone or something. And at first I was like, computing bias, why? But I mean, now once I started researching, I'm like, oh yeah, duh, right? It could totally, that's absolutely there, because oh, sorry, that's not the one I wanted, because of the fact that algorithms and programs are all created by humans, and we have bias. We all come with bias, and that's something that we need to, I'm trying, at least making more of an active effort to try to recognize where my bias are. In addition, try to be more open-minded when someone does tell me, hey, this is a bias of yours, because that's where I can like slightly, again, because I value that I'm trying not to be biased, but then somebody brings that up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a little defensive, but I should be, right? Because if somebody's going to kind of really kind of be respectful enough to tell me that kind of stuff, then I want to be able to, I should consider it at the very least, instead of just fighting against that, because fighting against that, that's where then we won't be able to recognize where our bias do lie, because all we're doing is putting effort into saying no, right? So here are a couple of examples, because I was wondering, like, where does it show up? I mean, it does show up almost almost everywhere, right? These days, but in terms of, oh, excuse me. Okay, so for instance, criminal risk assessment tools, where it determines like if a defendant will reoffend or commit or another crime. Those are used they're not like the end all be all, but they do influence the jury and the judge in terms of how they're going to decide with results, right? But those algorithms, and I've written right there, are trained to pick out patterns and make decisions based on historical data. But those historical data are biased, right, against certain races, possibly even gender, and classes, people of color, Black people. They have those bias against them. That's just historically, right? I mean, obviously, nowadays it is in the forefront. We see it more and more. We recognize that even more. And so it is what it is. However, we do need to recognize that there is computing bias involved, and we want to work to rectify those kind of things. All right. Another one is algorithms might also be trained on sets of data that aren't as diverse. Right? There's not enough. That it hasn't even picked up on enough examples. So facial recognition is something that is similar to that. It does not have as many, all right, as many images of women and minorities than it does have of men. That is, so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we need to increase that database then. And if you have ever used code.org, there's one called AI for Oceans. That's kind of what the app is asking it for in terms of AI and machine learning. So it's basically like, it's trying to figure out, is this trash for the ocean or is this good for the ocean? And so examples of things have to go through the algorithm and the robot to be able to see it. Because otherwise, what if it picks up like this rare, awesome fish and because it hadn't seen it before and it thinks it's trash, you know? So those are the ways that machine learning, it has to be, the database has to be extensive for it to be as fair as possible. And even then, there's probably a minor percentage of it, right? So that's in essence computing bias. I'm actually from there for this particular one. I'm going to go straight into three of the questions from the College Board. All right. So I'm on slide 37. If you all want to take a read of that, and I will do it this way for mine. All right. I think a lot of people have already had a chance. I'll wait a few more seconds. Yeah, no, there is just like best answer. Often it may not be the whole full answer, but yeah, you're right. Taylor, I like your answer C. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and unveil our answer, and that would be the majority in terms of A. Random sample, yes. Now, of course, so these people are, they're only looking at their own users then, right? There are, as Nathan's saying, that's not representing everyone. I guarantee it's not representing, for instance, my mom in terms of her music taste, but it is for the users of this particular application, right? This one most frequently plays songs on the radio station. That's still, I mean, that's biased towards generations of other music or genre that is out there as well. And Taylor, when you, I really like this because me as a developer, yeah, I feel like everybody should, if I was the developer, everybody should like what I like, right? However, because I have great taste, you guys. However, it is not everyone's taste. So we would have to include, and I am scared, I'll say it like this, because I was going to say we would have to include like hard metal and death metal and screamo and stuff like that, because I get scared of that music. Not that I don't appreciate it, I just get scared. I feel like they're screaming at me. And so anyways, and then D, making recommendations based on a survey that is sent out to the 1,000 most active users of the application. Again, 1,000 of those users, that may not necessarily also, that's still biased to the other users, right? You want to, like a user that might come on, I don't know, once a week instead of every day, for instance. And so that's going to be more of a non-bias application of figuring out those, like a strategy. All right, good job, everyone. All right, next one. All right. See a lot of you all coming through with an A. Yep, exactly. All right. How bias could occur in the game. Right, because in the cities, a little bit more, a few more players than in rural areas. Now with this, again, for B, it's a matter of the intended purpose of the game, right? And I mean, it possibly could. Hopefully that's far and few, and it's not necessarily like in terms of a bias that way. Special items may not be useful to all players. I think that's true, but then also it's not one of those things where it's a bias, right? And then weather conditions is weather, not necessarily a bias when it comes to that. Okay, let's go ahead and move it forward, or at least not for this application, excuse me. All right. And last one on computing bias. All right. See that a good amount of you all are putting in your answers, and take your time if you still need it. Right. But yeah, absolutely, right? To reduce the bias, there needs to be all different groups represented, especially for facial recognition, just like we were discussing before. All right. Cool beans. Somebody told me the other day, I'm like, I haven't heard cool beans in forever. I was like, yeah, I'm bringing it back. All right, so we are at a break. Let's go ahead and get yourselves stretched out. We may be there might be some stuff that we might not get covered, but that's okay because you guys will all have this stuff, all right? And if you're wondering, all the questions, excuse me, all the answers that were in those questions are already up at the top of that computing bias. I'm about to put that in there right now too. Let me stop sharing, yeah. All right, everyone, back on. And I have a feel, I'm looking at all my slides. When I was doing this, of course, right, as a teacher over plan, that's exactly what I did. But that's okay. Again, you all will have it. And we'll go ahead and get started. Gosh, I wish I had one of those little, like, I don't forget what those were called, but those microphones. I just did a stretch and I wish you all could hear all the cracks in my back, my shoulders, everything. It felt good, but at the same time, like, oh, shows my age. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started again. And we're at crowdsourcing right now. And let me share my screen once again. Okay, so crowdsourcing is, what is it? You all, slide 42, if you want to get on there. So what is crowdsourcing? What do you think that is? Why does this always do this to me? Okay. See, Taylor, I told you you're fast. First one to answer. Yes. Oh, sorry. Thank you. That's right. Crowdsourcing is the practice of obtaining information from a large number of people, over the internet. Okay. To make it, so I am on slide 43. However, I probably won't have that much time for you all. I'm going to go ahead and skip the time when it comes to that. I think citizen science is, in terms of crowdsourcing, all right, that's an example. I have four sites that you can visit to explore a little bit more of what that is, and it's crowdsourcing. So getting information from a large group of people, right? This one, if you're interested, if you have a pet, dogs, they've actually, there are enough projects for the dogs, but the cats, they're still developing those. But if you do have one, they would like to learn a little bit about your behavior and your dog's behavior in response to yours. In addition to that, I think there's a project, and if you're interested, they will send you a DNA kit to test your pet, and then you would be part of the project there. So if you're interested, of course, in NASA, National Geographic, Zooniverse, lots of different things, actually, tons of different projects that if you decide that you want to be part of, that would be very neat. A long time ago, I used to do citizen science with it was a website, I think, now, and I hate the fact that I don't remember exactly the work, what they all mean, but it was called SETI, and it was, we were able to, well, the SETI was an organization, but they would use volunteers, basically computer processing, to process and all of the kind of objects in the universe, anything out in the universe that they were kind of monitoring. They were overnight, especially when we're not using our computers, they would borrow that processing to be able to kind of get all the data as much as possible, because that was a lot of data. But I always thought it was neat, because I'm like, oh, what if like I find a UFO or something like that? It never happened or anything. But anyhow. All right, so that's crowdsourcing, and I'm going straight into the questions when it comes to this. So I'm on slide 44 right now. If you'll take a look at that. Okay, so. All right. Nice. I see a lot of people chiming in, and yeah, that's right. Okay. You guys are on the Citizen Science Project, right? So from all over the world, that's how we're getting everyone to help out and collecting data. So absolutely, that's crowdsourcing, right? Getting just asking for help from anyone that is willing to help from around the world to gather some data and collect it for scientific purpose in terms of that. Okay. All right, and on to the next. All right, looks like a lot of you all have also chimed in on that one, and let's D, that's correct. All right, from different areas, all local landmarks, so that is likely, I mean, a benefit because everybody's adding on to their stuff. Okay, if you've ever done the Google Earth and everyone adds on, all right, taking virtual field trips, things like that. Okay, on to the next one. Last crowdsourcing question. Okay. All right, so crowdsourcing, asking everyone for their input, and absolutely, I think most people are getting their answers in. And if you have answered, yes, you are right. Crowdsourcing is just asking for all these people to input in terms of traffic conditions. If you ever use Waze, that's something that is a very nice application for a driving map. And, you know, if there's any issues, they'll even say there's a police right here at this area, this stop, there's traffic over here. There is, you know, an accident happening. And people will put pictures in there, they'll put comments in there. It's great. Now, I think for me, the drawback of Waze, it does use a lot of your processing power. Because of the fact that it's you know, real time, and it keeps on taking in, yeah, it's awesome for traffic areas. It keeps on taking in that information, right? So that's why you like it, but at the same time, you know, it's really working hard with your phone as well, or yeah, usually. Okay, cool. All right, on to okay, in terms of legal and ethical issues and concerns. So I'm just curious if you all don't mind, I'm on slide 48 now. If you don't mind taking a Post-it note and just placing it on that scale, like, what do you think? Do you think we're better off having digital representation? And of course, it's not like an easy yes, no right away, right? Because there's pros and cons to everything. And you might want to think, like, you know, however it is, like, yeah, it is great because we can share, but you know, that kind of thing too. So. And as a science teacher, just FYI, I ask this kind of question about nature versus nurture too. Always wonder what people put in. Awesome. And again, as transparent as possible, as a teacher, this is what I like. I like to be able to see this kind of stuff in real time, and that everyone else can also see it in real time too, when it comes to that. And, you know, of course, as long as you, in terms of the norms, you preface it with, like, please don't erase anything or whatever it is. That would be great if you don't. Yeah, most students are great about that, really pretty respectful. And thank you all for not doing that as well here. All right, I see a lot of more yeses than I guess would say worse off, right? Does anyone want to mention why you put your Post-it note where you did? Unmute. I have a shy crowd. That's okay. All good. I really see, I don't really see too many, any right here over in the worst. I think that a lot of us are good with the fact that things are being represented digitally, right? However, there's always a however, you all. However, you want to make sure, especially your own stuff, right? Your own intellectual property, anything, if you're representing something digitally, you are also getting the credit. And if you're using something digitally, you're also giving credit as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just move on a little bit in terms of that intellectual property. Again, I will not play this video, but please feel free to watch it. It's about Creative Commons. I think it's a great thing, but Creative Commons basically is for anyone who has any type of intellectual property digitized, but they want to be able to share, right? I mean, like if we're digitizing our information and our creativity, we want it to be exposed to others. We want others to see and use it. However, we don't want them to also kind of making financial benefits from that, right? And if they are, then please share the love because you are the owner of that. And there's been quite a few things these days. Like the one that I know the best is there was some debate on Black Panther, right? Bring Black Panther back CGI as an avatar. And is that, you know what I mean? That's an ethical question right there. Is that okay? Is that okay that you would do something like that? Because then that can happen to anybody if you set that precedent in terms of that, right? Or should the family be able to, receive some type of royalties or whatnot? So, however, if you're curious at all, Creative Commons, again, it's like, where's the relevancy in my life when it comes to that? And students, I usually, for instance, if I go to Google search and I search bird, right? The first thing came in my mind, actually, sorry. If you're not that into birds, I'm actually, when I was little, I was afraid of birds because I watched that Alfred Hitchcock movie, Birds. Oh, that got me. All right, so I'm trying to move everything. As you all can see, here is, right, once you go ahead and search it, everything, all this stuff comes up. But if you want to make sure that you are doing digital citizenship in the right way, then, and you're going to be used as a teacher, like for me, I'm going to be using this to distribute to my students or whatever it is. I'm not making money of it, but I want to share it. It is under settings, advanced search. And all the way down, as you can see, there's birds again. That's what I was looking up. All the way down to the bottom, this is usage rights right here, and it has all. And there's the Creative Commons licenses. So if I were to click that and I do an advanced search, my images have changed. Okay, my images have changed. However, these are these are pictures that others allow for you to use, for you to publish, but not make money out of. Okay, but if you do, again, you probably want to go ahead and kind of reach out to them, let them know, things like that. But if you want to do digital citizenship in the right way, okay, so, and it'll say Creative Commons licenses right there. I usually like to just at least show the students like, hey, this is where it actually lives in your life, not just some words. So, all right, now we're on slide 50, and let's do our questions. Go. Oh, hush. I did not just, okay. Maybe you didn't see that. All right. Chiming in. I thank you. Which of the following actions is most likely to raise legal or ethical concerns? Okay. Yep. I've got it. Yeah. Musician creates a song using samples of copyrighted work and then uses a Creative Commons license to publish the song. Yeah, and that's not right. That's not the right thing to do, kind of deal. It's been copyrighted, right? Copyrighted is saying this particular person or group or whoever it is, these are the owners right here. You cannot just use it and publish it however you want it in terms of that, especially not making money out of it. All right. Second question, researcher wants, oh, sorry. I'm so used to reading the questions out loud with my classroom. Sorry, y'all. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for the answers. And yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Which of the following is a direct benefit of publishing the results in this type of publication? People can obtain it. They can easily find it and use that, right? Okay. Third question, last one on intellectual property. Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, absolutely. They're true as well. Creative Commons allows the owners to specify different ways of licensing and how it can be distributed or used, right? Very good. All right. I see that it is 11:56 and I am going to honor your time. I've got a bit more safe computing. So I'm going to go through this pretty fast so you all can see where I'm headed when it comes to these slides. Safe computing, these are the pieces of information that you want to make sure you hold dear, all right, which is PII, age, race, all phone numbers, Social Security especially. I mean, I have no idea why anyone would ever try to give that up, especially if a website is not secure. The other one is, if you're interested at all on here, this particular one is how secure is my password, right? This website allows you to type in your password or passphrase, and it will tell you how long it takes a computer, not a human, because obviously, right, these days when if anybody is doing any type of cybersecurity analysis or hacking in general, they're going to use a computer to solve these problems. They're not going to sit around and say, oh, let me see on my own, right? Because a computer is so much faster that way. So it will tell you how long it takes a computer to hack your password or passphrase. This is why it is important to have actually a passphrase these days. The more digits you have, right, it takes the computer longer because it still has to go through A, B, C, D, E, all the alphabet, all the numbers, and all of the ASCII symbols and stuff like that. So it takes it longer. That's, again, hence why the passphrase is much more important. Let's see. And I did have 2 questions involved in that. And before you all leave, I am going to put all the answers in there. Okay. In addition to that as well, for teachers, because again, students, I don't think you all really need this, I'm going to put in those the answers for you all. But for teachers, I have, here we go. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. It's taking me 2 seconds longer. This is the answer key. If you would like to use it along there we go. That is the answer key to the slide deck. But I will put everything in there. So that's where I have all that. And we were going to go on a stretch break. We had a whole internet and everything. I apologize, you all. All right. But in terms of this, if you want to use this, and I'm going to just quickly explain it. I have vocabulary, I have pictures of the way it works. And after the vocabulary, what I would have asked you all is to take a look and match the vocab. And then again, so for teachers, a student can go ahead and take a Post-it note and write down their answers that way. You could see that real time and live. And students, you could do the same thing. And that's why, hence, there are a lot of different looking, a lot of the same looking slides that way. All right. Routers and redundancy. If anybody has ever used code.org, this is a lesson from code.org. It's basically stating that there are certain barriers or obstacles in routing and redundancy. And for instance, laying the lines, that's actually a physical thing. So somebody actually has to go in there and lay those lines. And that costs a lot of money, or lines can be cut. Now, how do we ensure that through redundancy that won't affect the network or the connection of that particular device? And then of course, the more direct the path, the faster it would go. You guys could probably imagine that. And I asked each group to consider those obstacles and then lay down the lines for all of these users and how would your lines look. Okay, but you would have to ensure that, there couldn't, for example, there probably couldn't just be a line from A to B, because what if that line did get cut, right? Then how is A and B going to communicate? All right. And as I go forward, I talk a little bit more I start talking about the internet layers and how the internet is an open protocol. By being an open protocol, that's great because, right? Because then we could all use whatever device we need to be able to access it. In addition to that, you don't want, for instance, whoever if you have an iPhone versus an Android, or Samsung, if we weren't open, then none of us would be able to kind of really talk to each other without possibly even more issues or more logistics having to be laid down. Because then, like, Androids can only talk to it within the Android network, for instance. And I just wanted you all to see that I went ahead and did this hourglass figure on that one, because IP address is like, it's there, but it's a smaller piece. The rest up here and the rest down there, that's big chunks of things. Again, that's the hardware, or at least the network hardware, not just the computers or anything. And then the IP addresses, as you all can, now IP addresses, please, when it sends information, it sends metadata too, in addition to the information itself. Okay? Just wanted to point that out. All of that helps basically getting from a person who does a search, goes through all of these layers, and then eventually that shows up. Even though hopefully for us in our instant gratification world, that's it. We want it instant and fast. So more questions there. The wrap up wasn't, that's why we have specific rooms. Right? Students were going to have takeaways. Teachers were going to say, like, how would you review with your class with this? Would you just use a slide deck? Are you going to use the recording in terms of the video? Or are you going to have students co-teach with you as well? So kind of consider that for your own self. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming through. And while right now, if you want to, you can just, it's up to you. No, actually, I'm so sorry. In a moment, I will go ahead and put all of the answers into this particular slide deck. But again, there is an answer key already. But for you as students, you guys only need this one if you just want to use this to study with. Okay. Phew, thank you, you all. I am so sorry. It's 12:03. I do apologize. I went way over. Believe me, 3 minutes in any on a Saturday counts regardless. So thank you so much for coming on. I will put everything up there. And then Monique, do you want to go ahead and take it over in terms of all of this closing information?
Well, I
You know.
just showing you the screen now, in the screen share, how to reach us at Advanced Kentucky, how to reach you, Jackie, and where you can find the bit.ly links for the recordings after they are posted. This has been recorded and it will be posted at the Math CRS bit.ly soon. Our next session with Marshall Bertram, we'll talk about digital representations of data and number systems, and that'll be on February 20th. Hope to see you back. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Have a good Saturday. Stay warm.
Absolutely.
Bye. Taylor, you crack me up. Thanks, Russ. You too. Have a good one.
All right, Jackie.
All right. Thank you, Monique. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, also, thank you.